California's boardrooms are about to take on a whole new look. At the start of next year, the state will become the first to require that every publicly traded company has at least one woman on its board of directors. If not, they could face fines of up to $300,000. The bill's author says it should help decrease harassment and sexual assault in the workplace. But critics say it's unconstitutional and it ignores other forms of diversity. So has this been a breakthrough for the boardroom? Let's ask our guests. In Austin, Texas, we have Betsy Berkhimer-Creder. She's the co-author of the California bill and also wrote the book, The Board Game, How Smart Women Become Corporate Directors. And in Norway's capital, Oslo, we have Matilda Fasting. She's a civil economist for the think tank Civita. Thanks for joining us. And I'm really looking forward to this discussion. Betsy, how much of a victory has this been for you?
It's an incredible victory, Imran. It's just phenomenal. And it's taken years of work to get to this success. Very pleased to report that the California State Senate, this is not federal, but the State Senate and the State Assembly passed the bill over the course of last year at many hearings. And then Governor Brown signed it just a week ago Sunday. So it is law. Now, it may be tested in the courts in California, but we think that we have very solid legal arguments where you had earlier said that this is unconstitutional. Really, our feeling is it's unequal treatment and unconstitutional not to have more women on corporate boards representing half of the population.
Okay, so I think we're not going to get into the debate of whether it's constitutional or not. We don't even have somebody who's coming in, as an opponent from that perspective. But we have Matilda Fasting from Norway. Matilda, this is being done where you are in Norway. Is it the breakthrough that someone like Betsy thinks it is? Or should she be cautious?
Unfortunately not. We agreed on this in 2004 and that's 14 years now, and what you see is what you get. We have 40% of course, because you get penalized if you don't have it, and but the goals and the expectations, it was really something huge. The politicians wanted to do something, and what they did and what they hoped for was the trickle-down effect for making more women becoming CEOs, part of the top management and so forth. And unfortunately, today we have only about 400 women altogether on the boards, of course, and only 22% are on the top management, and 1 out of 10 is a CEO. So the numbers are not good.
Okay, this is interesting. So, Betsy, Norway is arguably a more egalitarian society than even the United States. We could debate that, but I mean, Norway is a pretty nice place to live, right? It's pretty fair and equal, and it's a pretty good place to be a woman. And they've had this on the books. They've had this law on the books where they say 40% minimum, and we're hearing Matilda saying it's not working, it's not inspiring change, and there is no trickle-down effect. Does that make you worry a little bit about the long-term effects of this?
Oh, not at all, because the US has a far greater population than Norway, and even the state of California it has a pipeline that is overflowing with qualified women. There have been 2.5 generations women who have been working their way up in the corporate ladder with excellent experience and high caliber qualifications. So the challenge is making sure that the nominating committees of corporate boards get to know the women who are qualified for serving on their boards. And so with an organization called 2020 Women on Boards, we're trying to help make those connections, not placing the candidates, but actually increasing the women's networks in order to be thought of. And the bottom line is Credit Suisse and the McKinsey and MCSI and other independent studies have shown that when women are on corporate boards, the companies are more profitable and more productive. So why not give this an important try?
Right. So Matilda, I mean, I guess you would accept it's not quite, in the year 2018, it's not quite like an episode of Mad Men, right? I mean, it's not that bad, but it's still, in many places, it's seen as a boys' club when it comes to the very top of companies, right? There's a lack of estrogen, I guess, in the boardroom. How else would you address this if not through trying to nudge it forward with quotas?
I think the thing is that when we got the quotas through in 2004, I think that everybody thought, okay, we have done something, and that might have postponed what really works, because it's not the top-down, it's the bottom-up processes that are important. And we have finally come to see that that kind of initiatives is much more important. So we have successful companies in Norway, and they have been working slowly but very consistently about getting women in the middle management and then up to the top management. And we see results, but they come slowly. And the thing is that women in Norway, they build careers between 30 and 40. They get children, and they have ambitions before they get children, and they also have the right education. In Norway, we have a high percentage of women taking or being economists, engineers, and even studying law. So they are well prepared and they have ambitions, but they don't seem to succeed coming through this very difficult 30 to 40 years period, which is absolutely crucial when you want to build a career.
Matilda, Matilda, for those who say when you go, sorry to interrupt you, for those who say when you go bottom up instead of top down, then women hit a proverbial glass ceiling. That's the problem, that they reach that point and they can't go any further because systemically they are held back. Your response to that is what?
I think it's not true. I think that we have we have passed that now in Norway. It's not really a glass ceiling, but it's more like practical things. It's if you're a family and your husband helps you, that seems to help. Then the woman can do a good career. And also if the employer is more serious about mentor programs and helping out, that might work as well. So it's really not a lack of men wanting women to be part of the top management. It's more that the practical details are not really there. Even though, as you said, we have a high percentage of gender equality and lots of things that are working very good in Norway. But it seems that in the private companies on top management, we kind of lack something, and it's very hard to tell what.
So Betsy, in your response to Matilda, fold in your answer to this question. What about the prospect of women being made to feel awkward that they are just quotas if they are given a role and given a position, given the new law? Is there going to be some resentment, and might there be some awkwardness because they might be treated as, well, you just got the job because this is a legal requirement?
Well, it could be. That could happen. And first, I'd like to compliment Matilda. The fact that Norway was the first to make this huge and important and historic statement 14, 15 years ago has been the standard that we have been looking at with great admiration from California. And you've given us the encouragement, really, to get this done. So I want to thank you for that. And I do believe that women bring not only more profitability to companies, but they change the conversation in the boardroom. The different perspectives, different innovations, and the skills and experience that women have developed in the areas that companies need today, from cybersecurity to global human resources to employment law and to even digital marketing. And we have women in these at the highest levels of these categories that companies desperately need when they're facing so many risks. So to your point, if a woman is the first one on the board, and I have many women in my book and a new book coming out in February, they're part of this movement now, and they're taking one for the team, in other words, because when one woman is on that board, then it's more likely that she will be able to open the door for other women and for people of color. So it's a great step forward, and we certainly don't want to say, well, it's just one, because we're at least one in California in the year 2019, but then we're requiring 2 more by the end of 2021. And so this is going to make a huge difference. And but for the first companies in 2019 in California, it's only 105 companies, perhaps more. But by the end of 2021, it's 400 companies. So this is huge.
Yeah, well, I mean, to many, the old ways are not acceptable. There needs to be a change. And it's interesting having the conversation about the changes that are being attempted. And it's a fascinating time. It's been good to talk to both of you. Thanks for joining us on The Newsmakers, Betsy Berghammer-Creder and Matilda Fasting. It's been a pleasure.